In this video, I'm going to share on how to hire using job description so you can scale your business to seven figures. So you might be wondering, why isn't there enough people, applying to your job description or your job post? And my answer would be your job description is not really attractive. So the thing is that a lot of times people think that a job description is something that, it's a formality thing, but people actually read your job description. So I'm going to share on what a good job description looks like, which is essentially three parts. I call it the job description magnet. Number one, intro or introduction. Two is requirements, and three is the benefits. So let's get started on the first one, which is introduction. So most people don't know who you are, right? There's many tuition centers, education businesses out there. So most people don't know who you are. So as a teacher, your job is to educate not only students, but also to educate other people or potential employees to join you, right? So this is how you educate them. First thing that I really like, and this is a way for you to actually attract more people, is what is your mission? Do you really stand by your mission that you put inside your website or whatnot, right? And the thing is that when you were to share your mission, people generally feel that it is something that they can get by, right? There is the people who cares about your mission and the people who just care about the job, right? So I feel that a mission helps to find the people that really cares about what you care about. And that is where I realized they are the people who really put in more effort. And that's where, like, it's a good way to also motivate your team as well. So if you have a mission, great. Otherwise, then maybe you can use other things like how many number of students you actually have helped. So this is, in a way, you're building a lot more evidence that you are someone to work for, right? Imagine you want to work for, tuition center that only has worked with 100 students or 1,000 students, right? 1,000 students, that means you are doing well. Next thing is testimonials. So if you have a team, ask for their testimonials. So you might see a pattern, right? Ask testimonials in terms of how they like about the job. And if you don't have someone in the team, then ask your students or students' parents and just put inside the job description. So this will signal to people who want to apply to your job posting, that you are doing well for the students, right? So testimonials help. And lastly, results of students. So this is where you can show off. So the job description is showing off that you're a great company to work for. So you might see the pattern. Actually, what I've gone through is how you typically attract students, but it's also similar on how you also attract potential employees. Very similar framework, and you just need to apply in the job description. So the first part is all about educating the potential employees or applicants on who you are. Introduction, right? Same thing as what you have done for your own tuition centers or education business. It's the same for employees. Number two is requirements, right? Obviously, we need to have certain requirements to hire someone, right? So this is a bit more technical. So there's only three parts to the requirements that I believe will help you filter. So this is the meat, the filtering part. Okay, let's go through the roles, right? Roles, technical and values, right? The role is essentially what the teacher needs to do, or what someone maybe other than the teacher needs to do. And the thing is that there's no cookie cutter on what every center, every tutor, every education business that I talk to, they have very different way of doing things, which is perfectly normal, because you have, that's your unique selling point as well. So the thing is that I can't give you exactly what you need to do. You have to figure it out. And a very simple way to actually figure out how or what the role of a teacher is essentially asking this question: how do you conduct your own class? So to just share a bit, there was once where I was talking to a tutor, coaching this tutor, and she was wondering, I don't know how to train the teacher. So I was asking, okay, how do you conduct your class? Then she's like, oh, okay. First, I need to do this. Then after that, I need to do this, and after this, and it's like, it was a very comprehensive list, right? And I was thinking, like, actually, you created a job role. And also later on, you will know that this is also a part of training and also managing. You actually created a bunch of instructions that you yourself did. And that's essentially your role. So, for example, if the first thing that you say is, oh, I revised the slides the day before the class. So that's the job role. The job role is to revise the slides before class. So what you can do, like after this video, is that, or you can pause this video, sit down, and then ask yourself, how do you conduct your class, right? And then after that, literally write down every single line of what you literally do. Oh, I message the students on there is a class tomorrow. I prepare the slides. Then the day itself, I smile to the students. I say good morning. And these are things that you expect the teacher to do, right? And then, I mean, later on, you can figure out what are the other parts of what you do or the teacher do that someone else can do. And admin, customer support, student success, all of this can be even outsourced even more. But fundamentally, the first thing is how do you conduct your own class? So you can pause this video, literally write down every single thing, even saying hi, student name, hi Haris, how are you? That is something to do. And then obviously, I think there is a lot that you you do for a lesson, and you can just use ChatGPT to summarize what the job role is, right? So student management, revising slides before class, manage students' questions during class as well. So these are the job role. So that's essentially what you are supposed to write down, right? So you can be as detailed, or you can just put a summary of it, right? So the next thing, I think you might be wondering also, is that okay, I get a job role, kind of makes sense, right? Next thing is technical. So what do I mean technical, right? Technical requirements. So I'm just going to share a very simple graph. So the number of requirements is proportionately, it goes down to the number of applicants. So the higher number of requirements you need, the lower the number of applicants you will get. And that's very normal, because the more specialized a role is, the lower the number of applicants. That's very normal. But the thing is, like, just my 2 cents. It's a bit ridiculous, right? If you require a teacher to have a high grade in their past exam results, right? So this is my 2 cents. This is my opinion. So for example, right, if right now I can score an AL1 for PSLE math paper right now, give me your own questions, and if I manage to actually score an AL1, like a legit paper, would you hire me? Most of the time, I don't know if you agree, but for me, I would, because that means you actually know how to solve a problem and you show technical, abilities. So for example, I don't have any experience with PSLE math question, but from this, essentially what I can deduce is that number one, in order for me to solve this, is that of course you can get the three shaded part of the circle, but how do you then solve the inner part? To quickly just to share, essentially, if all of the radius is the same, what do you call this, length, right? Essentially, that's a square. When you have the shaded with the inner part, it is essentially a square, right? And the thing is that I don't go through PSLE math question. I am a software developer. I solve problems and I know how to solve this problem. And that is something that it's a bit ridiculous in terms of the requirements, right? So, and there is actually a big push for people who actually can do this question without high results. So before, you might be thinking, okay, you require an A in math, but after, which I highly recommend, is that your requirement should say you should score an A during your hiring process to do these tests, right? I've met another tutor. He wasn't very good in a subject, or he didn't even study a subject, but he just learned by himself, and then he became a tutor, right? So generally, people don't really care if you can give results. If you can give results, if a baby can give results, they hire the baby, right? So with that, if your requirement were to just pass this test, which can be a difficult one and something unique that cannot be searched online, and if it's live, then there is a high chance that there is more applicants applying, and there's more chance to hire as well. Because yeah, if it's a ridiculous requirement, because the thing is that my PSLE was 14 years ago, or 20 years ago actually. Like, dude, come on, right? It's like you are basing my ability from the ability that my 12-year-old myself was performing. Now I'm a much smarter adult. You know, right? And lastly, technical skills can be taught. That math question can be taught. If the person is smart enough, which you can test, it can be taught. But the thing is that the last requirement, values, is that something that I think you cannot really teach, but also I would say can be improved, right? So if you remember in the previous video, I mentioned that values are a set of behaviors. What is the value of positivity? The behavior of positive person is they tend to smile. They think that all of negative or any situations is an opportunity to grow, and that is a set of behavior, right? A perspective. Okay, so for me, I hired over 10 over employees, including teachers, right, admins, all that. And personally, values are much more important than technical. Yes, technical is important, but if I were to choose one, I would choose values. Because if I have a value of, for example, self improvement, generally that person will grow. But if I have someone who is very technical, very good at technicality, but don't think that self improvement is a value, that person won't grow. They will probably be stuck at their level because they think that they are the best, which generally you are not the best. You're only best for a moment of time, right? So for me, I don't wanna hire a smart asshole. And sometimes you have made the mistake of hiring a smart asshole and you pay the price, right? And that's why values are super, super important. So values are filters that people that you don't want. Okay. So if you care about, for example, you don't want to scold the students as much as possible, or you have a value that you need to explain every single thing that you teach to the student, that's where you can filter them out. Or if they're open to, there's another value, right? Open to changes, self-improvement, like, essentially, then that you generally want to work with that person. All right, the last thing for the job description magnet is this thing called benefits. So benefits, there's two types of benefits for job description. Generally, number one is you want to reduce pain, and number two is you want to motivate goals, and that's something that you should always show, right? So salary is not really benefit, so the first type of benefit is that there is this thing, reduce your pain. So what do I mean by reduce pain? So for example, if you were to have a physical class that you need to go to, how do you reduce the pain? Number one, what is the pain when you have to take public transport? I mean, other than time, money, right? And that's where you can give transport allowance. Number two is that, of course, when you actually have pain, right, then you have to pay to go to the polyclinic, or you have to go to the doctor, right? You can ease the pain of financials by giving medical allowance as well. So you can think of what other ways that you can reduce the pain. So other companies actually have used by saying that, okay, we're going to provide you an allowance to buy a laptop. So it makes your teachers to have a proper laptop or tool to actually teach, right? I mean, now generally everyone has a laptop, right? And that reduces the pain, right? So you can think of ways of, as a teacher that you have right now, what are the tools, right? I have an iPad. So do I have an iPad I can loan to the teacher to actually conduct a very good class or not, right? And then the second type of benefits is motivate goals. A bit broken English, but it summarizes very well. So when you motivate a goal, you need a bonus as well. So you give a bonus if you have a number of A's for student. If out of 20, 10 students have A's, then you give a bonus. So this will motivate the teachers, tutors, or even any employees to actually move towards the goal that actually help the company, right? So number of A's is one example. Attendance rate, that's something that you might not think about, right? So attendance rate means that you want the students to be in the class. Makes sense. But why? Because maybe if you know that if students were to attend the class, they tend to improve. I don't know if you've seen that benefit yet. And that is something that you want to give bonus, because if a student were to not attend, then that means probably the lesson is not really that good. So that's something that you need to think about, right? So essentially, that is the job description. Yes, it's not as simple as just going to chat GPT and just create a job description. You also need to attract and also know how to attract these employees to not only join but also help you in your company to grow as well. So with that said, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you want more of this kind of video, subscribe down below and comment down on what are the things that you're going to put inside your job description. So with that said, all the best, and I see you when I see you. Bye bye.